Green, KDWN 720. Our guest today, Senator Spearman, is still on the line. We're going to talk to her some more. I had to cut her off, and she was getting kind of passionate there in her beliefs and her hard work out there. Thank you, Senator Spearman, and we appreciate having you on the show with us today.
Thank you, and I that was the calm me when I'm advocating.
I know I've been with you when you're excited. It's fun to watch and motivating.
Yes,
so back at it, we've got some bills here, SB 206, SB 405, and AB 392 that I think are favorites out there. We're getting some pushback here by that oil money, and on SB 405, which establishes protections for and ensures the rights of people who use renewable energy in Nevada. So our friends and family members out there who have rooftop solar, it's what they're kind of calling the Solar Bill of Rights. And we want to make sure that everyone helps us make this bill pass. So you can use the legislative call-in number, which is 702-486-2626, and that's for SB 405. What are some other favorites of yours that you would like to talk about?
You mentioned 405. A companion to that is Assembly Bill 206.
Okay.
And 206 requires the state to expand the use of renewable energy to 50% by the year 2030 and 80% by the year 2040. Now, opponents of that bill say it's too aggressive, it's too much, and we can't do it. But here's what they haven't thought about. They have not thought about the benefit of going into renewable energy, expanding that especially to schools and to government buildings. Do you know how much is spent on energy, heating, cooling, lighting, buildings, schools, government buildings?
I do. I'm actually working with the school district.
In front of me, but I can imagine that if we were to expand that to 50% and they were able to cut their budgets with respect to the how much energy they use, I suspect that they could do a lot more.
They could, and with programs we're using out there, that they'll pay for themselves.
Yeah, and that, you know what? That's one of the things that moved the military to get renewable energy on board so quickly. There was one year that the Army was spending, I think it was $350,000 a month just on energy. And as they started cutting the dependence on fossil fuel and started going to renewable energy, which is, other than the technology to hook it up, is free.
Yes.
Okay. Once they started doing that, they were able to put more money into things like supporting our troops that were over in Iraq and Afghanistan. They were able to do things like modernize some of the systems. So, this is a win-win.
It also stabilizes the budget, because once you put those solar arrays in place, now you've capped your cost for 25 years.
Exactly. And, and here's what I would say. For those who are really concerned about fiscal responsibility, this is one of the ways to make sure we're doing the most that we can with monies that come from taxpayers.
That is correct.
Converting to renewable energy helps all of us. So 206 is the one that expands our RPS. We have coming up tomorrow Senate Bill 392, and that's sponsored by Senator Mo Dennis and myself, and that deals with community solar. Now, one of the things that I heard frequently was that there are people who live in apartments, there are people who live in condos, and people whose roofs won't support solar panels, and these people are subsidizing the people who can afford to pay for the roof is okay, on and on and on. So that argument came along frequently to say that renewable energy was an impossibility. And so our answer to that is community solar.
Absolutely, great idea.
And guess what? They're fighting us on community solar.
Just to fight, I'm sure. There's no really good reason for that.
They're doing it in Minnesota and other places. And my pushback is always, if people in other states have figured this out, they are not smarter than we are in Nevada. They don't have any more brain cells than we do. If they figured out how to make it work in their state, by golly, we can figure out how to make it work in our state.
And it'll work better here. We are
much better.
Our company did a project at the Minneapolis airport, and it's an iconic project. It's Minneapolis. They have to shovel snow off of the solar panels to make them work. We don't have that problem here.
Yeah, but they figured it out.
Yeah, they figured it out.
Figured it out. So, community solar is another one. Senate Bill 145. I think that's making its way okay, but that deals with distributed generation and with grid resilience. I don't know if you happen to see the news talking about British Airlines and how their system over in Europe was either hacked or compromised, or something happened to it and it went down.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the deal. Our grid across the country has not really had significant modernization in, I'd say, decades. If someone really wanted to cripple us, they could do it with the grid.
I know. I just watched this weekend. I watched the movie Blackout, which is just a 52-minute movie on Netflix, and it talks about 1977 when New York blacked out, and everyone heard about it. But to watch that movie and see what happened will show you in one night, New York was brought to its knees. So the grid needs a lot of help. We're needing a lot of support from our people. We need to get rooftop solar back in play. We need to get our solar bill of rights in play. We've got a website out here, www.leg.state.nv.us, and you can go on there and vote for your bills. You just pick a bill, for example, AB 206, select 4, add your comments, and move on. We need people to support these bills, and call your legislative call-in number at 702-486-2626. We've got to fix this. We should be the leaders in renewable energy and get rid of all the foreign oil in this state.
And you know what? It's people usually say Nevada can be the leader of renewable energy in the nation, but do you know we have the resources right here in Nevada to be the leading renewable energy and energy efficient site for the world?
Absolutely. As I said earlier, we could be powering the whole country right here from Nevada.
Exactly.
Which is going to require us to get our grid in order.
Yeah. I want to just mention another bill, 150, Senate Bill 150, that deals with energy efficiency, and that's really the bedrock of expanding to renewable energy, because it doesn't make sense to put solar panels on your roof or buy into community solar if you have single pane windows and you don't have the proper R factor for insulation. And so energy efficiency is another way that we're going to do this, and it requires the utility to do some significantly things different, and the PUC to monitor that. So
thank you, Senator Spearman, and I hate to stop this, and I want you to come back on our show and talk some more, but we got to go, and we'll see you next week, or listen to you next week on Shades of Green on KDWN.
From the Sun Power